to show you how to make a Wahakura. A Wahakura is a safe sleeping device which is made of harakeke or New Zealand flax. This is for experienced weavers only. This is not for somebody who's never woven before. It is far too complicated because you need to prepare your own harakeke. I'm not showing you how to do that. I'm assuming that you already know how to do that in your own time. I don't care how you do it, but I'm going into the details of how many whenua you need later on. In the meantime, I explain to you the features of a Wahakura. Essentially, a Wahakura has 3 whiri, and most weavers who make them would use short and very long harakeke. The very long going from one corner to the other on any of those sides, and the short ones, the short ones going just up. However, there is a lot of wastage involved if you just use very long and short. So I came up with a plan of also using medium and minimizing the very long whenua that you need. So the idea is that the very long still go all across and up. The medium only need to be in the middle on either side. And the short, they just come up here and on the sides as well. So the numbers are short 112, and they need to be at least 55 centimeters long up to about 75. We've got medium 32, 75 to about 95, and then we've got long 1 meter to about 1 meter 10, 15. Anything longer than that just means a lot of wastage, and as weavers we try to minimize wastage, so try not to have them any longer. If you need really long harakeke for other things, just keep the really long ones. Right, now how to get started. The important thing is, in my belief, the shiny side needs to be on the inside. That is the soft side, even though most weavers would do it on the outside because it looks nice, but it's not about looks, it is about the baby's comfort. And as you all know, the dull side can be quite rough on the edges, and you don't want your baby getting any scratches on its face. So the shiny side is on the inside, and the whiri is on the outside. And now we're putting them on in the way that I do them. Doesn't mean you have to do them the same way, but this is how I do it. Okay, now, I always start with the middle whiri, because that is just the easiest for me, but you can do it any way you like. The way I lay them out is in their order of appearance on the whiri. So I have short and long, then the medium, and then again short and long. And the numbers are, I have 6 short, 6 long, 8 medium, 6 short, 6 long. And they will be alternated on the whiri. And I have that on either side of them. So the total number on each whiri is 32 on each side. The way I do it is I alternate shiny and dull. That way I know exactly where each of those whenua goes. In this instance, I start on the right hand side with a long one, dull side up. Same on the other one. And then I follow this up with a short one, shiny side up. And so on. Again, dull, dull and long. The next one, shiny and short. So I do this until all my long and my shiny are used up. The idea behind this is I turn the dull over. Obviously I want the shiny side on the inside of the Wahakura, and therefore what is dull now and long will go all the way across to the other side, while the shiny ones stay in that direction and only go up. So I continue this on until I use all 6 of each up. Then I use the medium, and then I do the reverse on the other end with the shiny and dull. So now I've used up all my medium, and I'm back to the other side to use the short and long again. Now, as I said before, this is going to be a mirror image. So I've used up all the medium, now I need to use a dull. And in this instance, the dull is short, because the short will go this way. Then I do the same thing that I've done at the beginning. I alternate them, dull and shiny, and now the shiny goes all the way across and up. So these need to be long now. This is for the middle whiri. On the side ones, it's slightly different. So now that we've finished our whiri, we start to weave it up to a triangle, just like a normal kete as you do, a whiri kete. You weave it up to a triangle on either side. So you turn the dull ones over. That way you get all the shiny side on the inside. Now, important, while we as weavers always try to weave without any gaps, in this instance, to get the right shape of the Wahakura, it is important that you weave it slightly open with quite a few gaps on it. It might go against everything you ever learned, but that's the only way you can get the desired shape with the length versus width ratio. Okay, so this is the middle whiri. So as you can see, we've woven up the perfect triangle on either side of it. And that will go in here. And you should see that this is the long one. See how it's going all the way to the other side and then up. So we've got enough length to work that out. While the short ones only need to go up. Now we're doing one of these sides. And obviously one side, the inside, needs to have the same amount of long and short and medium as this one, while the other side only needs to have the short ones. So now we're doing one of the sides. So we have 32 short on one side only, and the other side will have short, long, medium, as per before. And we also start in the same way as the other one. Start with dull first and move on to shiny after. So we've done our 3 whiri. The middle one has been woven up into triangles, and the side ones each in just one. The sides, the short sides, don't need to be woven up because they're going to be locked off and just going to be woven up. So now we need to join the triangles together to form the base, which is going to be these parts. And there are different ways of doing that. This is the way I do it. Feel free to do it any other way. So they need to be parallel, ideally on the same alignment. If you don't get that right at the beginning here, the whole Wahakura will be out of shape. I'm just turning these ones back so the whole idea is easier and it stays in shape. And then I only weave up about 3 rows. So you can see better. The idea is, if you don't go all the way up here, you can still change and pull slightly while you do it to get it into the right shape. And so you continue to do this until you reach a perfect square on both sides. So you will add the other 30 onto it as well. And then we take you to the next stage. So once you've joined all 3 30, you end up with a rectangular shape just like this, or ideally you end up with this. Depending on your tightness or looseness, this might sort of change a little bit in the proportions, but essentially this is what you end up with. And so the next step would be doing a single lock, just a normal single lock. Right. Just like this. And don't worry about being too loose at this stage. It will all come together later on. Rightio. And you continue like this all the way around. Take special care of the corners. Sometimes you might lose your other on the corners, then you have to fix it somehow. So I normally start close to a corner. If I, for one reason or another, lose my other, I can fix it on the corner again. And next I'll show you how to do it, how to do the sides. So this is what you end up with once it's been locked off with a single lock all the way around. I'll show you the other side so you can see a bit more clearly. It looks a bit like a bird's nest at the moment. So this is the underside. And eventually you will weave on the outside, but to basically go back up, you work your way on the inside first, and just with a flat base kete from your single lock, you just start anywhere really. You just weave it back up like so. So if you have done a single, a flat base kete, this should be familiar. So you end up something like this. I go back and do it one more time. So one more time. So the one at the moment, as you can see, the dull side is up, shiny side. We want the shiny side on the inside. So we turn the dull up and weave it in. Same next one. Now there might be different ways of how you do this. People tend to do it like this. And then come down, up, down, turn it over, cross, up, down, up, down. I personally, I just weave it in like this. But that's really up to you. And I go probably as high as this, which is about 3 high, all the way around. And tighten as I go, so that the outside looks something like this. And the first lock I put a peg on. So I go all the way around, and once I've done that, I weave further up, and then I lock it off, but we get to that in a minute. So this is as far as we got now. So we've woven up the sides, about 3 rows, takitahi only, and so it doesn't look like a bird's nest anymore. And if you're anything like me, by now your back will be hurting like hell, especially your shoulders, and you're ready for your cup of tea. But we're not quite finished yet. So now that we've done the inside, it is easier to weave on the outside. It's just easier that way. So you just go up, you know, either 2 or 3 rows at a time to about up to 10-12 rows, really depending on the width of your whenua. I'm using 12mm width, but if you have any larger or wider or smaller, you might have to vary this. And we're just going to go up to about heel high. How much is that? Roughly about 7 inches, 18 centimeters kind of height before you lock off. And I'll see you there. So here we are, woven up to about 7 inches. Hang on. Yep, 18 centimeters, and now we're ready to lock off. So as you can see, the bottom is quite gappy, while the sides are actually quite tightly woven, and so that is to keep the shape as it is, at a rectangular. And we just do a simple double lock with a free finish, and then we're done with it. Sounds easy, should be easy. So it's just a really simple one. Every weaver knows that. So we just do 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. And obviously you leave the top up, so when you finish doing this, you can do your whiri at the end. And that's basically it. That's a Wahakura. So here we are, finished product. As you can see, just the whiri on the outside, nice and stable. And with that method of having medium, short and long, where they are and how long they are, we have minimal wastage. So as you can see, all these little bits and pieces, that's the only waste I have. And that's the end bit, that's where I join the whiri up. So all that needs to be done is just tidy these sides, and then it's ready for baby, essentially. So, tips and tricks, or little things that I might have missed in the video. First of all the harakeke needs to be boiled. That is not only to kill all the diseases and insects that might be on it, and obviously are harmful for the baby, but also it helps with the shrinking process. So you don't end up having something really nice and tight and then shrinking and you have big gaps. So they need to be boiled. All these instructions are based on my measurements, meaning the whenua are 12mm wide, and some people might make them wider or smaller. Really, then you have to adjust the numbers. But the size essentially is 14 by 28 inch. And some people might want them larger, others might want them smaller, although I wouldn't really make them much smaller because then the baby outgrows really quickly. The other important bit to notice is the mattress. We didn't talk about that. The mattress is essentially just a little foam mattress that you can buy at a rubber shop, Power Rubber in Auckland. I don't know if they have other shops around the Auckland, New Zealand. And they're supposed to be only 25 mil, 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch thick. I, however, prefer to buy the thicker one, which is 2 inches, which is 5 centimeters, which is about this much. And that goes on the bottom, and that will be covered in a pillowcase, and that's where the size actually comes from. So for high need families who really haven't got much money, and these are being given out by, let's say, Plunkett or your local marae or anything like that, so they can just put a pillowcase around the mattress, and that would solve the problem of having to cover them and hand sew anything. Anything bigger than a pillowcase or smaller, you will eventually have to hand sew or machine sew a cover for your mattress. There are families who get mattresses specially made, like futon mattresses for very large Wahakura, but if they're really large, they won't fit in the bed with the parents. You have to imagine this is sitting in there with another mother and father right next to it. If the bed is only a double bed, that won't work. So you have to put that into consideration as well. For any other details, you can always contact me through my website, which is www.flaxworks.co.nz, or via email, which is the email address is on the website, and there's more information on the whole project on there. There are wānanga around the country where people can learn how to make these, and please be aware this is just my way of doing it. There is probably another 10-15 different ways of making these, and everybody's got different opinions on how it should be made and what the perfect size is. So this is just my way of doing it, and please be aware of it. Thank you.